because culture is what you tolerate. It's not what you say, it's what you tolerate when you think about it. We drive everyone on the team to be a safety champion, not just the superintendents.
Welcome to the Canary Report, the podcast where risk leaders, safety professionals, and operational executives come for real-world stories and smarter strategies to keep people safe. I'm your host, Michael Zhao. In each episode, I sit down with exceptional leaders who are transforming how risk and safety are managed. Whether you're a leader of a nationwide EH&S program in a high-risk industry, or you champion workplace safety across 200 retail locations, this podcast is for you. Let's get into it. Welcome to the Canary Report, the podcast where risk leaders, safety professionals, and operating executives come for real-world stories and smarter strategies to keep people safe. I am your host, Michael Zhao. I'm the CEO and founder of Yellowbird. Today, I am delighted to have join me Jim Wathen. He is a longtime safety director at CW Driver. If you are from Southern California, you do know CW Driver. You've seen them all over the place. I was just talking to Jim about that before we got live. They're a very successful and well-known group, wonderful company. They're in Southern California's premier general contractor. The company is widely recognized and for its elite safety programs. That is the mission and goal of Jim. And so he is accomplishing his goal as a longtime leader. He has more than 20 years of experience. Jim has led safety programs that have earned multiple Golden Gate Partnership Awards, SHARP Award or SHARP Recognition, Cal OSHA Volunteer Protection Program, which VPP is not an easy thing to do alone, but let alone a Cal OSHA VPP. And an honorary held a handful of other contractor, an honor that's only held by another handful of contractors in the state, one of the largest states in the nation and one of the most active building states in the nation. So it's even more difficult to achieve these things. Jim's leadership is rooted in culture where safety is a daily mindset. He's active not only in the industry to be a leader, but also understands that we do this for people. We do not do this for compliance. At the end of the day, we want our people not only getting home safe, but also retiring with the same mobility and vibrance that they started in their career. And that's what safety is all about. And so with that, I want to welcome you, Jim, and thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me, Mike. I feel honored to do this.
I want to kick off, as we always do on this podcast, talking about the most important piece of Jim, which is your family. So give us a little bit of the background of the human that is you, and tell me about your family and your upbringing and kind of your journey a little bit on a personal side.
Well, I grew up in Garden City, Michigan, just outside Detroit. I'm the last of 7 kids. 5 older sisters and a brother. And when I married my wife, I said, there's not a woman problem you could throw at me that I can't handle. Because I essentially grew up with 6 moms,
Oh, I understand that.
But came to California, joined the United States Marine Corps, served in the Marine Corps, and I stayed here. I have 3 boys and a beautiful daughter at home, and been married now for 22 years and been practicing safety for 30 years, and the Marine Corps gave me my start. Went to chemical war school, came back to my unit. Our chief warrant officer handed me the Code of Federal Regulations for hazardous material. It says, you're now our hazmat officer. And he's, oh, by the way, you're now our safety officer. Read this stuff. In more colorful word language, I will say, but needless to say, long story short, that started my career. And it was one thing that my dad instilled in me. He was a union steward in Detroit he was a truck driver, and he told me one day, he says, you always take care of your men. And that's something that was instilled in the military, and I just took that through my career, is you take care of the people that serve you.
First of all, thank you for not only your service, but also your service to your people through the 30-year journey. I'm glad you started this conversation this way, because I genuinely believe that if people understood how much we care about their well-being, that the concept of a safety cop would go away. I truly believe that. And because when a mother snaps or a father snaps at the child, you never go, oh, well, they're just a bad person. It's like, no, that mom loves you and was trying to protect you. And no, we shouldn't be snapping at our employees. Let's not take them out of context. But there's no question that we're doing this for if you start with good intent, if you believe that everybody has good intent, you're going to get a lot further. So you were in Pendleton, I imagine, which is just south of where I grew up. Correct, when you were
I
back in the day.
yeah, it actually was at Del Toro.
You were a
They're
Toro. Oh
yeah, they're
wow,
yeah.
Uh, you were the Great Park.
Yes, yes, now it is. And we built
Yes.
some of that part. High School number 5 there in Irvine.
Yeah.
We built that
Yes.
school back years ago. And at that time, it was kind of sad because there was the foundation of the Paraloft. I was a parachute rigger. And the foundation of the Paraloft was still there. So it brought back some memories, some good memories.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Are the hangars still there? Did they maintain? Are they still in present?
Not at Del Toro.
No, but when I mean the big balloon hangars that were like that figure piece. There was a long time when it was being built out in the Great El Toro, all that area. I don't live there anymore, but I'm just curious because there used to be weather inside of them, and I found that to be fascinating as a kid. That you could literally, they were so large they had clouds inside of the hangars.
Those were over at Tustin, and one
They
of
were.
them,
You're
yeah,
right. My bad. Excuse
yeah,
me. Yes.
yeah. Well, one of them burned down. Uh,
Oh wow.
yeah, from what I understand, it was from a homeless person that caught it on fire and it burned down. It's tragic because it was an icon for the military there.
Well, as I prove every time on my podcast, I will get facts wrong, and I like the fact that I talk to people who know the facts and are willing to do a fact check on me because I haven't lived there in close to 9 years. So I guess my age is catching up. So you said you have 3 boys and a girl, so you're flipped opposite of how you grew up. So she now has 3 dads. That 3 men in her household, which my daughter is 16, has a big brother who's 21, and I gotta say, it does give me a little bit of a feeling of comfort knowing that you have 3 times the comfort, and that's good that they're taking care of your daughter. Not that she needs it, of course, but it's always good. So, tell me a little bit about the journey. I mean, have you been with CW the entire journey, or have there been other places throughout your career?
I spent a few years in the refineries in petrochemical, and then I spent a few years in heavy civil bridge building, container terminals in Port of Los Angeles, Port of Long Beach. In that environment, I was a safety manager at Disney when Disney built their new theme park. I was part of the OSHA, the Owners Control Insurance Program. And so I spent 3 years watching that place build and joined CW Driver shortly after that. I've been with CW Driver now going on 22 years. I'm the first safety professional that they put in this position. And so I can honestly say that this thing is my baby. It's been quite a journey because, I'm not going to lie. We've had challenges over the years, and building a safety culture, it takes time.
Building anything meaningful and thoughtful and difficult, which is our job, it is difficult, takes time and takes anybody who tells you it's straight up and to the right on or down to the right, if you're looking at the other types of numbers, is being foolish, because the reality is when you're dealing with human beings in a growing organization and the best part about going into a company that has a foundation is that you can improve it. If you don't have a foundation, you have to start from zero. And there's wonderful parts of that. You do it right. But it's also challenging to know where to start, right? I imagine. So, how many, from a just scope perspective, how many active jobs do you have in the company at any given time, and how many employees, and then contractors? Contractors is going to be hard to answer, I'm sure. So you don't worry about it. But
The contractors are a hard one, but within the companies, so CW Driver Companies has a sister company named Good and Roberts down in San Diego that does primarily, they do aerospace and tenant improvement, and we are doing some multi-residential work as well. And then we have driver special projects group, which does pretty much the same focus, tenant improvements, and depending on the size of the job, we do have a job at a university right now under driver SPG. So it depends on the value of the project and the complexity of the project. One of those two companies may take that project for us. But right now we have approximately 40 active job sites within Southern California. We primarily do work just here in Southern California. CW Driver Companies has been in business since 1919. So we're a longstanding contractor here in Southern California. We have about 350 employees within the three companies. And I have three safety managers. So including myself. So I've got two safety managers and myself within our department. But, we use everybody as a safety manager on the jobs. It's building that culture.
It absolutely is. And it's funny, when I started Yellowbird in 2018, the conversations were very, very abrupt, which is you can't outsource safety. And I'm like, oh, that's not the intent. We have no intention of outsourcing safety. That has never been the objective ever. The objective is to leverage people's knowledge and skills and backgrounds to accomplish your internal safety culture, because your culture is paramount. If you have a poor safety culture, there's no external resource that's going to change that. And frankly, very little internal resources can change that. It's a lot of work, right? And you bring up an interesting point. Everybody is responsible, and and generally speaking, companies like yourself, I've had 4 or 5 of these conversations this week. I'm a very active podcaster and host, and it's always about 1%. And I'm really, no matter the scale of the business. I mean, I know the head of Raytheon very well. He was the head of the VPP program, or he was. He retired, went to VPP, and now he's retired for good. Well, maybe we'll see. But I'll tell you what, he goes, look, we'd never be able to use Yellowbird. We have 350 safety professionals in my organization, and we are really a well-oiled machine. And I said, well, how many employees do you have? He goes, 350,000. And I said, 1%. It's like, it always comes down to that. Like, it's a minuscule head count responsible for every head. And like, you've got to find a way to leverage resources that you can trust, because there's no way of going any other way. So from 70 locations that you're operating in it, throughout a year, and good size, but you have a condensed area. The three of you, are you traveling around between sites? You've got your superintendents, which I imagine are also your safety supervisors. They go through an OSHA 10 or an OSHA 30 to
OSHA
make
30
sure that
is baseline.
OSHA, yeah. What other ways do you operate, like on a training and assessment and staff and things like that? How do you handle that stuff?
First of all, we are on the road a lot. We do spend a lot of time. I think safety is won at the job site, not in the office. With that, our leadership backs us. They support it. They support the drive. Because, culture is what you tolerate. It's not what you say, it's what you tolerate when you think about it. We drive everyone on the team to be a safety champion, not just the superintendents. So project managers, project engineers, project assistants, they all baseline training is 30 hour. And then we do a lot of time where we will break down a job from start to finish and focus training throughout the job with the job teams. And it's challenging to get to every job all the time. And some of the jobs are much smaller than others, and you have to focus on where you're going to manage that risk the most, where those risks are. And we put the focus on training from the aspect of what is happening, what's the next step on the job. Look at the schedule. You have concrete coming up. Okay, what are we going to do training on that's associated with concrete? And that might even boil down to rigging because of getting the materials to the job site. So it's do a lot of hazard assessments from that standpoint, um, involving the team. A lot of times when our safety managers go to the job sites, hey, let's get the whole team and let's walk together. What are we looking at? How are we going to correct it? And really, when you think about it from an observation standpoint, the observations have to drive action. You know, you go back to that compliance when you're talking about compliance, okay, well, yeah, that's out of compliance. OSHA says this, or OSHA says that, or Cal OSHA says this. But what are the actions are we taking to mitigate that? Number one, and not make sure that it doesn't reoccur, not just on that project, but on future projects.
How are you doing your training as far as, like you said, everybody, and you've got multiple people at multiple sites that are getting OSHA 30s. How are you running those? Like, how do you, when you're dynamic, where you're hiring and changing, and how do you make sure that everybody gets their
I
OSHA
have a
30s completed?
well-oiled HR department.
Excellent.
I have to give them
Excellent.
credit. I have to give them credit. Jackie, she's awesome, and we have a CW Driver University, and so within CW Driver University, we have the OSHA 30. It's online. Okay, they have to take that online. Most of the training that we do from that standpoint on the jobs, it's in person. It's one of our team members and just scaffolding. We're going to
Right.
set
Yeah,
scaffolding on a job.
we do a
Yeah,
lot of scaffolding
yeah.
training, and yeah, it's not easy to, you can't do that online.
No, no, and the online, yes, it's AI and everything has made it very convenient these days to have training programs, but the on-site training, the hands-on, look at this excavation, what's wrong with it, how do they test the soil, and those kinds of things. The hands-on training we find is most beneficial to the folks because you see it.
It's funny, you brought up the walks, the safety walks, and I find that it's such a powerful tool, if done well, to have your people, internal or external, have some type of a way of highlighting all the good. And we've been focusing a lot on that lately. Of, you know what, that's perfect. You know what, well done. As you're going through, getting that mentality and say, oh, wait, you know what, let's come back to this thing over here. We got to fix it. We got to focus on this. But you know what? All this stuff's going great. So the way you do that is so critically important. And the reason I bring that up is what we're trying to do right now is have, like, I do a lot of safety walks, because I think independence is really important. You don't want the guy who's responsible for keeping it safe to do his own grades. Amazingly, they always get straight A's.
The fox in the hen house.
Yeah, a little bit. But it's also not that easy to give yourself kudos on the other side. You're not going to find the superintendent writing down all the great things that they're doing, because no, human nature doesn't do that, right? Like, unless you're a narcissist, and then, well, there, you got other issues going on there. So anyways, but I found that to be such an interesting point, that as you do these walks, do you have a standardized walk that you guys do? Like, you have standardized when you go to a site, do people, I hate the checklist or the clipboard, or do you use software or anything like that when you're doing these?
We use software. My staff doesn't have a checklist. It's the knowledge base that we have. I mean, you can walk a job site and look at what's out of compliance, or look at the good. And you bring up a good point, Michael, about that fact. And I want to touch on that for a second, because it's your dialogue with the guy in the field or the gal in the field. And if you have that dialogue and you're personable, you show that you care about them. You may even walk up to them and say, "Hey, I really appreciate the fact that you're using that face shield. When you're using your chop saw, that's great. I appreciate it. Keep up the good work." Those kinds of things. Praising the employees goes a long way. And when you build relationships with these people, you may see them you may see them on that job for about 8 months. And then they go to another contractor, and then they come back to you and they say, "Hey, Jim, how's it going?" Or, "Hey, Greg," my
Yeah.
guys,
They remember
"Hey,
you.
Greg,
They
yeah, they
remember you.
remember you
Yeah.
because you had an impact on them." And that, in my mind, that's what it's about. If you can change the attitude to where that man cares about me, he wants me to go home safe because he knows I've got a family that cares about me. That changes it. So to your point about that the checklist, we use a software from Edify. It's called Safety Mojo, and it's an observation platform. It has many other functions, but from the standpoint of the observation platform, it gives us all those, as we say in the field, lagging indicators that we look at. The percentages of the positive, the percentages of the different severities, and but again, what are we going to do with that data? That helps change the culture of the company, because by having that data and being able to look at those indicators and make the adjustments for future projects, it's really helpful.
Absolutely. It's funny. I'm very familiar with a lot of these softwares, and Safety Mojo is not one of them. So, and we're giving them a pretty good advertisement here.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah,
good.
he owes
Hey, you
me.
know what? There you go. He owes you. He owes you one. All right, we like it. So, but you know what? I I always say, tools are tools. If they get the job done, and I don't care what it is, if they get the job done, say, well, in physical world safely and in the right ways, of course. But in the data world, if you're getting what you need and you're able to execute and level up consistently, which is what I say to our team here. We just need to be better than we were yesterday. We need a better feature. We need a better timeline. We need a better experience. Whatever we did yesterday, we just need to be a little bit better today. And it's the same thing on the safety in general. It's like just knowing. I had a conversation yesterday, and I want because you built this from the ground up as you did, you'll appreciate this. Priorities are so difficult. And people don't understand that. Like when you're building a startup or you're building a software, in my world, like everything we do is AI and software driven. It's to take human beings and match them based on their superpowers to each site quickly, efficiently, and with 5 stars. That sounds really easy. But to prioritize features that somebody values, do you do a reminder system for people who got their training and have all their stuff on their dashboard so they can go and do that? Or do you do a bulk upload of all locations so that you can facilitate all the locations at once? It's like, oh, well, they're both really important. Like, you need to do both. Well, we don't have the, at some point, and you kind of have to deal with the same things. So, do you use like your, severe incident kind of ratings? You're looking for the things, not ratings, but historical lagging indicators of where you need to train first, or where you need to do more surveys, or how do you view the prioritization of your job? Like you got a lot of responsibility. I mean, you told me rigging in passing. I'm doing rigging inspections right now for a couple of groups, and we're doing rigging training for a couple of groups. And he goes, it could take every resource I have just to do this. And that's just my annual rigging inspection. Like, yeah, I get it. Trust me, I know. So how do you prioritize, right?
It's based on those severities. I'll just give you a really good example of fall protection. It's a leading cause of death in our industry, and it's a leading indicator that you could have a potential high risk problem on a job site. And I commend our teams for being honest, because when we developed this program and we set severities to the various actions or conditions on job sites, some of them initially were like, "Whoa, you don't want me to tell on myself," and it's like, no, I want you to identify that risk and take action on it and change it. And so prioritizing, it could be broad. I mean, based on the project, the complexity of the project. We have a $250 million project out in Palm Springs right now. We have a $80 million project at Dominguez Hills. What's going on the job what's going to start on the job. Knowing the schedules is critical. Putting the resources in the right place at the right time, and making sure that the team has the support, and you prioritize it in that manner. From that standpoint,
It's funny you should say that. We're working on a deal right now, and I can't say on air who it's for, but it's a big agriculture and livestock company, and they're actually doing one of our interim staffing. We do a lot of interim staffing where they say, "Look, I need somebody who has an expertise in this part of safety for 120 days. I just need him for 4 months because this is the electrical portion of the project, and I want a dedicated person there." And it's funny because I saw something come through yesterday, and it was like I think it was 90 days or 120, something like that. And it was I wanted to hire a safety supervisor for lockout tagout, and I'm like, wait, you want a safety supervisor, or are you looking for a lockout tagout program? So I went over to the head of, I'm like, they're like, no, they want a safety supervisor that's focused solely on lockout tagout for this duration. I'm like, that's cool. Whoever's running that program is smart. Like they knew the highest risk. They didn't want to just throw a body in there as a supervisor. They threw a body because they know during this period, this is the big risk point. And I just thought it was fascinating. Like I thought about it even when you were talking about fall protection. I'm like, having somebody on site, a trainer or a supervisor or somebody that was a fall protection expert for the periods that you're on scaffold, but there's a long period that you're not. Like once you wall it in, scaffolding is a little less important than maybe, you know, airborne particulates or, something else electrical or, something inside. so, so yeah, it's, when you mentioned it, I'm like, huh, it's so fascinating because you're right. Every project does have like its moments of high risk and it changes. So we're in the holidays and we're about to roll out. Now this will probably not come out before Christmas. So I'm going to say that, sorry, everybody, you're going to listen to the holiday discussion here and it's going to be in your past and your rear view. But, what do you do what are your holiday traditions with your family? Like, what are the things that you're excited about that you have coming up?
decorating the house, that's one thing, and then just just getting together with family, spending quiet time. It's that time of year to kind of decompress and look forward to new beginnings. And I don't do the New Year's resolution stuff. That's but just enjoying the time and really focusing really on Christmas is what's the real reason for it. It's our Lord and Savior's birth. You got to give thanks for that. It's be thankful for the people in our lives. The people that have molded us and make us who we are, and share that with the people around you that you love.
And how old are your kids, by the way? You gave me.
You're gonna
You don't.
you're
You
gonna
don't. I
test
didn't.
me here.
I didn't even put you. Okay, I know you got 4 of them, and 3 are the older ones are boys. But
Yep.
you can even
Yep.
tell me what part of schooling or out of schooling they are. That's an easier question for you if you want.
Well, one turned 33 this year.
Can't believe that.
My second son turned 30. Well, he turned 32 in August. My youngest son is 30 this year, and my daughter is 21. She'll be 22 in February.
My son is 21. He just turned 21, but he's my oldest. And by the way, I'm not even going to talk about how impossible that sounds because you do not look, you look like you'd be the brother or you definitely do not have a 32-year-old. I'm not going to buy that. So, well, congratulations. Now, are any of them married or and any grandkids or anything like that in the works?
One is married. I have 2 grandkids. My youngest son, Carter, and Elijah. Unfortunately, they live in Kentucky right now, so they're a little bit far away. So we're hopefully after the first of the year, we're going to get out to see them.
Awesome. And being from SoCal, born and raised, do you have any fun hobbies that you do? Most of the SoCal folks that I know are either into vehicles, surfing, or something like that. Are you into any of that kind of stuff? Have you had any hobbies that are fun.
I hate to admit this, because as a safety professional, I ride dirt bikes.
Good for you.
That
Good
is
for you.
motorcycles have been my passion my whole life. And besides that, I enjoy shooting sporting clays with some folks here at the company. And we've kind of got a little group going, and we try to get out every month at certain
Do you go out
events.
to go out to Paris, California, where they have the clay skeet shooting
No,
spot, or where do you head?
there's a spot there's up in Silmar near my house. I live in Santa Clarita.
Oh, okay, you're north.
Yes, it's called More and More. So I'll plug More and More as well, and we shoot at another facility called LA Clays, right off of the 60, here in LA County.
Well, let me give you a little secret. My last two interviews, and you are the third that I'm thanking for their service, because I had 2 Air Force guys and a Marine. And the first one is a 1,200 horsepower, normally aspirated drag racer for fun. He's doing incredibly fast times down a strip with needing a parachute to stop him. The second one was a pilot and flies. He at one point flew what do they call them? They're the non-sanctioned airplanes that you can experimental planes. And now I have yourself, who's a dirt bike rider. So and you're not unique, by the way. And when I say not unique, you are very unique, but you're not unique in your understanding of risk. I guarantee you that you take all the right precautions, but you work in a world of risk. We live in a world of risk, and safety is not about eliminating it. It's just acknowledging it and dealing with it. And so you shouldn't be ashamed of it at all. I would love to see you someday on the dirt bike. And I thank you, Jim, so much. I've enjoyed this. I hope you've enjoyed talking with me.
I have. Thank you.
And CW Driver is a fantastic organization, and for so many reasons, including the passion that you show when you're speaking about them. So you have a wonderful day. Thank you. Oh, please go ahead.
I just wanted to say, it's the people that make this company. When you talk about family, this is my extended family, and it's been a great time, and I enjoy being here. So I appreciate you, and thank you for your time.
Of course. Thank you. That's it for today's episode of the Canary Report. If this conversation helped you reframe how you think about risk and safety, please do me a favor. Hit subscribe, leave a review, and share it with somebody who needs to hear it. We're building a new category of safety and risk leadership, one that's faster and smarter. Leaders who aren't just empowered by tech, but whose wisdom is accelerated by it. To learn more about how Yellowbird's cutting-edge platform is empowering leaders to solve workplace safety and risk challenges faster, smarter, and at scale, visit goyellowbird.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Yellowbird pages to stay up to date. Until next time, lead with clarity, know first, and act fast.